Hello. All right, we are getting started for our call for Wealthy Week. Um, there we go. Great. Yay. Okay, so I was feeling into it this morning. I got back from a meditation retreat last night and then I slept 11 hours, which I desperately needed. And then this morning I was like, what do I want to wear? And my first thought was this sweatshirt. And so that's what we've got going on is my money sweatshirt. And I'm also wearing these are my grandmother's like warrior earrings. So today, this call, really this whole week is going to be about setting really deep in roots, right? Working with your relationship with money to come into a space where you have the foundation, the roots, and the clarity and direction for how that growth can occur and happen over time, right? So, this call, I'm going to be giving a lot of context and also leading you all through a practice. We'll have some time for Q&A at the end as well. And then please know if you're watching the replay, you can also ask questions in the Telegram. So throughout the week, I'm going to be sharing lessons, downloads in the Telegram. So in the Melissa's downloads area, I'm going to be sharing things there. And then I'm also going to be sharing on these calls. So we have one call today, and then we have one call on Friday, and these will be recorded. And I'll send out the link after as soon as it's uploaded. So yeah, I've shared a bit in an email to you all about how to get the most out of this week is to be really engaged, to share in the feed, to share, introduce yourself. I'm going to be sharing prompts to help you deepen your relationship with money, to get clear on your direction. Honesty is super valuable. Like I talked about this in the first pre work, this clarity of where you are, right, will help you be able to steer to where you want to go, right? So just being really honest with ourselves and being like, oh yeah, this is what's happening, this is where I'm at. I feel like so much of our suffering is perpetuated by delusionary kind of thinking where we're like, no, this is okay, right? Like in relationships a lot of times this happens where we're like, oh, it's okay that my boundaries are being crossed, it's okay, like all of this kind of stuff. And so it just, things keep perpetuating. So I was reading through things that you all have shared in the feed so far, and there were, some shares around being like, okay, I'm kind of tired of this. This has been happening for a while. And I'm like, great, excellent, excellent. We're being honest. We're being honest. Like, I'm tired of this pattern. I'm tired of um, whatever it is, whether it be a feeling you're having, whether it be a pattern that's perpetuating, you know, whether it be like feast and famine cycles, being in this like just enough or not quite enough, or, carrying along debt, or maybe you have plenty of money, but you still feel broke and you're like, what's up with that? It's actually a really good sign if you're like, you know what, I'm kind of done with this. I'm kind of done with this. Great, because you can fuel that energy into the transformation, into being like, all right, what comes next? How can I actually transform this? And so this week is all about stewarding and fostering and like, yeah, like having these really solid roots and foundation and a strong foundation to actually create that transformation. I have been teaching money work now since 2019. I have been doing it myself for since 2018. I've been doing inner work and healing work since I was 15 years old. I'm almost 33, so whatever, we can do the math, 18 years or something like that. And I am a huge believer from my lived experience and from working with so many clients at this point in change, in transformation, in steered change, in intentional change, in like, I would be dead. I would literally be dead if it weren't for the power of transformation. Like that was my Kickstarter when I was 15 years old, because it was either that or I wasn't going to stick around too much longer. And now I'm in a place where I'm very happy. I deeply love and accept myself. I've healed so many of the things that I were told were lifelong diagnoses like having a social anxiety disorder, all of this kind of stuff. I was told that that's just how I was. And it doesn't have to stay, these things don't have to stay that way. So, whatever you're experiencing with money right now, please know this is temporary. Everything is temporary. And we can so get into this place where we can be like, well, it's been happening for a long time. It's been happening my whole life. Maybe I've never known different. Maybe this has been happening from in my ancestry for generations. Whatever it is, please know that it can change. It can change. If you really like dig in, take the time, right? Money is a relationship and a practice. It is a practice. I want you to hear me say this. It is not a milestone. It is not an end goal. It is not those things. I learned that when when I was initially growing my business. I had this idea that if I just got to 20K a month, that I would, and I don't know why I fixated on that number. It's like, what is that? Why? I fixated that if I just got to 20K a month, I would never struggle in my business again. And it would never be hard. And then I would have it figured out. And I got there, and then I felt literally no different. I maybe had a dopamine hit for like a day, and then I felt no different. And I was like, oh, I actually have to create security in myself. Oh, I actually have to still keep walking this path of learning and growing and healing and all of that kind of stuff. And so I want you to take everything that we talk about this week. This is why Wealthy is lifetime access, because things are going to change in your life. You're going to change, and you're going to have to come back to money again and again, and to deepen and to heal with it, and to reorient, recommit, repair sometimes. Just like any relationship, it's going to be a practice, it's going to be something. But when you have the skill set and the tools and the understanding of how to do that practice, it makes it so much easier to keep going, so much easier to keep nurturing it. Yeah, so that's one big thing I want you all to know, is that this is a practice. This is a practice. This is a practice. And to stay present with it. And the practice we're going to do today, the actual practice that we're going to do, is going to really help you with that. Okay. So I would love for you all to go to the chat box and answer a question for me. And if you are not here, I'm actually going to put this in the Telegram group to share as a prompt. If you are not here, I would love for you to share it in the Telegram group. But what does it mean? So I've been talking a lot about right relationship with money. And that's really what I want to help you all have here first, is right relationship with money. It's going to look a little different for everybody, because everyone has, like, when it comes to teaching money work, I don't teach a step by step, like, oh, do this and this and this and this, and then you'll be rich. Everyone's experience is going to be different. I more like to give you a toolbox, a set of practices, a set of, different ways of orienting, holding space for your personal transformation, because everyone's ancestry is different. Everyone's values are different. Everyone's desires and gifts and lifestyle. Some people might be parents, some people might not be. Some people might want a huge business, some people, and like actually be like that, be really true for them, not just be like some people want huge businesses, but it's just like they're wounding talking, right? But that might be really true. Some people might want, to be in a really solid career path, and function really well as an employee. Like, everything's different. So I never want to assume one of my biggest intentions that I hold as a facilitator and a coach is that what's actually of highest benefit for you, what's really true for you, comes forward. So I'm not going to project my stories, my ways. I'll share with you things that have worked for me. I'll share with you things that have worked for all of my clients. but it's always going to be, especially in business coaching, I really do this a lot. It's like, let's find the way that really works for you, because that's what's actually going to work best, not just you doing it my way. So go to the chat box and let me know in this moment, what would it mean for you to come into right relationship with money? So this might be, your response might be, well, here are some things I'm experiencing that I know isn't right relationship with money. Maybe you're having some avoidance tendencies or some clinging tendencies. Maybe you're like, I'm feeling a lot of charge in these areas. Um, and it might be more on like the positive side of things where you're like, this is what I want to experience, this peace and empowerment and ability to steer things and create and have choice. So, what does it mean for you? Go to the chat box and let me know. Yes, I can. So, the question, I'll type it in the chat box. So, in your experience right now, what does right relationship with money mean to you? Because this is your, this is going to be, oh, yeah, you're okay. You don't need to be on camera. Yeah. um, this is going to be your North Star for a while. Like, what I would encourage you all to do is, whether it be, here in this space or afterward, if you join one of my money containers, doing a little bit every day of taking care of your relationship with money. And so, this right relationship, really learning what it is and being open to hearing that. And right now, and it's going to teach you over time, right? Like, sometimes there's been times in my life where I don't have clarity. I'm like, well, I know it's not this, but I don't know exactly what it is. And I don't know how to get there. But just by being with the question itself, right? I call this outsourcing to the divine. It's something I do very frequently, where I'm like, okay, this is not really working for me. This is really like causing a lot of suffering and struggle, but I'm not quite sure what that would look like otherwise or feel like. And I don't know how to get there. So let me just be in the question and have the open ended question, and then see what comes through around that clarity of direction and the clarity of how to actually get there. What does right relationship with money mean to you? And then I'll tell you what it means to me. And if you're listening to the replay, I would encourage you to pause. Well, you don't have to pause because we're taking the time, but to write it down before I share what it is for me. Okay. I've had issues with visibility, and I feel like that's a way I've been avoiding money. Right relationship for me would be open to receive without fear of being seen, hiding and overgiving, to have a healthy sense of confidence with what I have to offer, and feel safe to receive in return for my offerings. I love that. Beautiful. Yeah. To feel fully supported and ease with my relationship with money. Yeah. Great. So for me, some of the things I have seen with that have come up for me, that have asked me to come into deeper, like, right relationship with money. Again, it's a practice. So I have people who I've been working with for years around money who keep coming to my spaces, and they're like, you know what, it just keeps going deeper. And I'm like, yeah, because life will do that. Life will ask you to keep refining and learning and growing. So for me, it was first about I projected a lot of my anger and a lot of my pain onto money, thinking that money was the root of evil, that money caused a lot of suffering. But really, people were perpetuating suffering on their own and thinking that money was going to like solve problems in one way or another. And, maybe you've seen this in your family, or maybe you've seen this like, you know, globally, right? Like wars, um, colonization, all of that kind of stuff is rooted in this. And so I first had to learn that money wasn't evil, that money took on the energy you gave it, right? And it really called me into a lot of sovereignty in taking responsibility for the energy I was bringing to my life, the energy I was bringing to money, and the results that I was getting. Because I had so much conflict around like this cognitive dissonance around wanting money and like needing money because I was not when I started money work, I was not making enough, but also pushing it away and feeling like having all this shame around money. This is why I wear the sweatshirt. This is why I call my things names like wealthy, names like get rich. It's meant to be a bit like if you have avoidance and shame around money, it will feel cringe to you that you're like getting a course called wealthy, that you're like buying something called get rich. You're like, oh God, it will feel weird. Right. So I really had to work with all of that shame. And it really took it to another level when I started teaching about it, which I avoided for like 6 months. I was like, no, I don't want to talk about money on the internet. Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. So really like coming into this place where I'm like, you know what? Money is something that can be really good in the world. Money is something that can be good in my life. So actually liking money, actually feeling like open to money. And it really helped me open my capacity to give and receive. Like it helped me open to life, right? Like we talked about in yesterday's drop, money is a mirror. Money will mirror other areas of your life. Opening up to receive money, like you were saying, Nadine, is like it's opening up to visibility. It's opening up to love. It's opening up to your power. It's opening up to potential and transformation. It's opening up to being present. Right. So that was one of the big ones for me. Coming into right relationship with money is about finding your sense of, first of all, I feel like safety isn't always quite the right word because the truth is that things sometimes won't be safe. Like your safety is not, no matter how much money you have, safety is not promised. Like you're going to have sickness, you're going to have death, you're going to die. Everyone you know is going to die. Everyone you love is going to die. Everything you know is going to end, right? And hopefully that comes in a way that's pretty peaceful. But it really is about presence instead. Right relationship with money is about, yes, there's this like kind of paradox. There's a lot of paradoxes. So yes, having money will help create more safety in your life. It will help you to be able, if you're sick, you can get medical support. If you are, one big one for me, I left a relationship where my ex had a psychotic break and became very violent. It was really scary. I was not safe. I was not safe to the point that I was put on a list of people with the police department that they were like, this person is at risk of being murdered. We need to keep an eye on her. Like, that's how not safe it was. But having money helped me to create more safety, helped me to take time off of work, helped me to um, pay a mortgage and a rent at the same time. Helped me do a ton of things. I could go on and on and on, right? So, yes, it did help me to create safety, but I also had to practice that safety within myself. We have to practice that safety and security and that presence in ourselves. Right relationship with money will call you into owning your worth. Owning your worth. When I first started teaching money, wealthy used to be called worthy and wealthy. And it was really about opening up to allowing things to be good for you, that you're worthy of goodness in your life, that you get to be supported, that the work that you do in the world gets to be reciprocated. The love that you put out gets to be reciprocated. You get to be paid well, whether that be for your work or whether that be receiving gifts, or maybe you have a partner who wants to financially support you, whatever it is, whatever your path is with money, right? Opening up to this worth of receiving, of softening to life. Okay. So I want you to be this week exploring, what does right relationship with money mean to me? Where is money calling me forward for my parts of this relationship? And we're going to do more of this in the practice, okay? One thing that's really been coming through that I see a lot, I actually made a post about it this morning, is that, again, with that same truth, that money gets to be supportive, it gets to be nurturing, it gets to be something that can actually transform in your life. I want you to like release this we have such an unconscious, and it comes back to that tie that I really believe is tied to death. So with money, we talk about death a lot. I have a microphone over here and it just fell. I don't know if y'all heard that. It woke up my dog. Anyway, it's so funny. I'm like talking about death and then my microphone just goes like, so much of our relationship with money and relationship with life alone, right? It's tied also to death, impermanence, all of that. The thing that we avoid the most in our life is that we're going to die. That's the thing that we avoid the most, right? And so there's this constant like treadmill of a being like, how can I cling to life? How can I cling to love? How can I cling to money? Right? These other life forces, right? The things that are helping perpetuate life, right? Love does that, community does that, breath does that, water does that. Some of them we take for granted because, especially if you're, like for those of us, we're in developed countries, I can go over here in countries that aren't experiencing like war, genocide, famine, whatever it is. I can go over here and flip my little switch and have clean water, drinking water immediately available, right? I have breath here, I have clean air. And sometimes our bodies will like naturally do it where we're kind of shutting down to breath. We do this with love. We like shut down to love. Love won't feel safe, right? Or we'll cling to love, like I need more love. And we do this with money. Like money is like if I cling to it, or maybe I'll shut down to it, right? But this root is that there is something wrong. Like there's something wrong. There's a problem. There's a problem somewhere, you know? And again, that's tied to we're going to die. We're all going to die, and everyone you know is going to die. Welcome to Working with Melissa, where I sit in my money sweatshirt and I talk about death. But I promise you, reflecting on death has been one of the best practices in my life to actually help me live. Truly, truly. And so we have this clinging sensation of there's something wrong. There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. And this is why, because there's something wrong with me, this is why I can't experience the things that I want to experience. Love, money, health, whatever it is, community, friendship, sisterhood, whatever it is. And a lot of times it's an unconscious belief. There's something wrong with me. And so we keep this cycle. This cycle keeps happening of like that root unconscious belief has us operating from this place of fear. Fear with money, fear with love, fear with life, fear with our businesses, trying to fix, trying to problem solve, trying to be better. And it's true, again, here's the paradox, another paradox. There might be some things to work on. Great. Some things to improve in yourself, ways that you can show up better for yourself in life, but that doesn't mean there's something inherently wrong. One thing that has helped me so much is actually believing and nurturing that the core of who I am, the core of who I am, the core of who we all are, the very, very core is love, wisdom, power, clarity, all of that. Now, a lot of people have, in Buddhism, they call them obscurations. It's like you can't access that well because it's obscured by wounds. It's obscured by pain. It's obscured by ignorance, delusion, attachments, all those kind of things. For some people, there's a lot of obscurations. People who perpetuate wars, people who literally starve other people in order to, grow their assets. There's a lot of obscurations there. There's a lot. And yeah, there's a lot we could say about that, right? But all you have to do, right, is this is why I believe healing is really important and really valuable. I always go back to like using my plants as examples. My plants are very simple to take care of. Like when you learn how to actually nurture something and attune to it, I can look at my plants and be like, oh, you're not getting enough water. You're getting too much water. I know how to take care of them, right? I know that when there's like, oh, there's like this dead piece of plant, I just simply take it off, right? It's the same with money. You can learn how to attune to money, how to connect from your source, from your inner core of wisdom, love, and power, and let that drive your relationship with money. It takes presence, it takes awareness, it takes leaning in, it takes contemplation, it takes educating yourself and asking questions. That's why you're here. Yay. But when you do that, money becomes something that is really quite simple to take care of. I promise you that. It is so simple to take care of. Again, paradox. Will there be times that you feel challenged by money? Yes. Will there be times that wounds come up that you thought you healed? Yes. Will there be times that you experience something like a loss or some sort of challenge that calls you to deepen or to maybe go back into a little more healing, or maybe like, oh, this one really needs a bit of help, Yeah. But it's still going to be the same process. It's still money is an organic, living, breathing thing that wants love, nurturing, to be listened to be attuned to be taken care of, and it wants to do the same for you. It will reciprocate and do the same for you. So if you are in a place where you're ready to have transformation with money, it will require your presence. It will require your contemplation. It will ask you to spend time on it, to sit with it, to listen, to give, to change your pattern. But again, You have the power to do that. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay. I have two more context pieces. Resonating. So glad. I have two more context pieces. And then and then we're going to do a practice. Two more context pieces? No, three. I got three. Let me look at my list because I want you to really understand like what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Okay. Working with money is both inner work and outer work. I talked about this a bit yesterday on in my drop in Telegram. Another thing that's really good, like there is a reason why my clients who I've been working with money work come to these containers like again and again. People, again, a reason why Wealthy is lifetime access. Repetition is required, especially with something like this with money, because the way that we are learning to operate with money here from love, from wisdom, from kindness, from peace and trust, it's so very different from the way most of the world does. If you look around, it's very different. And so even if you're doing this work, even if you've embodied a ton of this work, osmosis is going to, like, if you're just out in the world when you're receiving money, like there's gonna be times where it starts to, you kind of get pulled back out down into like fear, shame, whatever it is with money. And so that's why if you decide you're like, okay, I'm going to do this work, you are being a pillar for not just your transformation, you are being a stand for the whole money system to change and the whole collective experience of money to change. That means that you'll have to keep doing this work. If you want it to keep happening in your life, and I'm just going to let you know this now, I want to let you know what you're signing up for. If you want to operate with love and with trust and with peace and power with money, you're going to have to keep doing the work. You're not just going to take a 2-week course and then never think about it again and it's going to stick, because it's not because it can't stick within you. It's because there is so much around you happening that is not that, and it will influence you. It will influence you. So it gets so much easier. Like my practice with money used to be so, when I first started, there was a lot of emotional charge, right? Because I had a lot of built up emotion around it that I hadn't processed, right? There was a lot of pain to unpack. There was a lot of confusion and being like, oh wait, no, I'm thinking this about money, but now I want to be like this. And it's much easier now for me to, it's just like little bit, it's more maintenance. I've had periods of time, like after I left the domestic violence relationship, I had to put a lot of energy into money because there was a lot that happened with money that needed healing during that time. But it comes back to being more like, oh, okay, and more in a maintenance place, right? So whether you're in that position of maintenance, maybe you're like rededicating or devoting because there's like some areas that you're like, okay, I want to like go back and clean this up. Or maybe you're just getting started and you're like, I feel like I have a whole lifetime of things to unpack. Great. Maybe you've done this work with other people. Oftentimes people tell me like, they'll come into working with me with money and they'll be like, wow, this is way deeper than like maybe they've taken other courses or read books or whatever. And that's true because it's, well, I won't say it's true. Like, I don't like doing generalizations like my money work is deeper than everybody's money work. And you'll like, there's nobody teaching money work like that. I actually really don't like that. I hate that. But I can honestly say it is deep work. But that's because it is going to the roots. It is going to like, how do we actually transform, not just like put a little band-aid on, but it's still like your wounds driving the show. Okay, so like I was saying in yesterday's drop, it's inner work and it's outer work. You have to learn how to have that inner transformation and nurture that relationship, as well as learn the skills of investing, of how taxes work, of managing money, right? Whether that be like personal money, business money. of how all of these different things work. It's both of that. Okay. So it's showing up to nurture your relationship, but then also to take the steps to like do the things that need to be done and create a habit of doing those things a little bit every day or a little bit every week, whatever it is. Okay. It's both. Okay. So oftentimes what I see people do is they'll really fixate on one or the other. They'll either do inner work, inner work, inner work, inner work, but not actually take the tangible steps. Like, if you are wanting to have investments and you don't yet, the first tangible step to that is open the accounts. I don't care if you put $1 in, open the account, right? If you have to take the steps and the next steps will come and the pathway will come, right? So if you've been doing like, I've been doing the embodiment, I've been doing the affirmations, I've been doing whatever it is, great. Balance it with outer work. If you've been doing the outer work, I see people do this where they're like, my money is so meticulously organized and I know exactly what's happening and I have these investments, but they feel like shit when it comes to money. You need to do some inner work. Okay. We balance both here. Okay. Also, please know one thing I see, like, I work with very sensitive people. I work with people who like are willing to do the deep work and in a way need it, like need the deep work. And the deep work doesn't have to be, there might be, actually, I'll talk about this in just a second, right? Okay. So the sensitive souls, the people who've, maybe experienced a lot in their lives, but they also have a lot of like really profound love and gifts and are very powerful people. And so often I see money work taught in a way that is very like, it's about like, if your capacity for money is here, it's about being like, well, let me just try to make everything more positive. And so it's very much like focusing on affirmations, focusing on like it requires you to bubble yourself to like the suffering of the rest of the world. It asks you to like bubble yourself to like having friends or being close with family members who maybe are still financially struggling, right? Or have the beliefs and the mindsets that you don't have anymore, right? But when you actually open capacity across the board and you allow yourself to do the work to actually process the charge and the discomfort and some of the pain and heal the wounds that you've had around money, you are naturally opening up space to feel that pleasure and that equanimity, peace, joy, empowerment with money. And then you don't have to like cut off somebody because again, you are able to hold the pillar, because it's not like, oh, when I see them having their experience or speaking in the way, it's not gonna poke at me because I haven't healed that wound, of actually healed the wound of scarcity and fear. So it's not gonna like, it won't be like, oh, this reminds me of that. And so I can't be around them because it's still living in me. You're like, no, I've actually like, I see you in this. And I've actually alchemized that. And so really, I encourage you to be the person who has the capacity to experience both. That what we see as negative emotions and negative experiences can be alchemized and transformed into wisdom, into something deeply positive. But this doesn't require like, this isn't just like, let me just pick it up and put it over here. You actually have to go through it. You actually have to allow it to work you. So you might be in a place where there is grief that comes up, where there is ancestral pain or like some deep like tenderness with money, and that's okay. That's actually really good if you embrace it, because then you can actually create true alchemization and transformation, not just being like clinging to like, I'm a nurse, millionaire, but then you become a millionaire and you're still like, like feeling tense and all of that kind of stuff. No, you can actually let that stuff go. You can actually let it go. Yeah. Okay. The last piece of context I want to give you all is that again, there's an inner world with money and there's an outer world with money. So one thing I've shared over the years that really lands with people and helps them get a clearer insight into where they're at and how they can continue to shift things around. I have to make a name for it. I haven't made a name for it, but it's kind of like it's like the scarcity to thriving continuum, maybe is what I'll call it. And with money, I decided I didn't want that pillow there. With money, there is an experience of the inner continuum and an outer continuum. Okay, so I'll go over the continuum and then I'll give examples. Okay. So a continuum, what is a continuum? A continuum is something that maybe has some like stopping points on it. Like this one has 4 little stopping points on it, but it's not like a switch. It's something that is like shifting and evolving. And sometimes you're in between one of them, and sometimes you bounce to one and then come back, right? So, how the scarcity to thriving continuum goes is first is scarcity. Okay. So, again, there's an inner scarcity and an outer scarcity. You might be experiencing one, the other, or both if you are in the scarcity area. You might be like, you know what? I'm actually safe. I'm actually taken care of. I'm actually thriving financially, tangibly, but I still feel scarcity. I feel fear. I feel not enough. I feel unsafe. I feel in fight or flight. I feel at risk. Okay. And you might have the opposite, right? Where like I've seen people, one example that I love to give is my meditation teacher, who is an incredible soul, just an incredible, incredible soul. He was experiencing extreme tangible scarcity where he was leaving Tibet at risk of, being murdered, literally, or imprisoned by the Chinese occupation. And he had to walk across the Himalayas, like, not enough resources, not enough clothes, all of those things. It's like 21 days hiking across the Himalayas to get to Nepal from Tibet, like 3 weeks, right? And a lot of people in Tibet did this. But because of his deep, profound, like access to his wisdom and compassion and love and power, I asked him one time, I was like, what were you feeling during that time? And he was like, I felt a lot of presence and trust because I knew something good was going to come from it. Like he knew, and he ended up, he's an amazing teacher. He has like incredible students and, has a lot of support. And so that's an example of like the pretty extreme being internally thriving, but external, a lot of scarcity, like actual unsafety and scarcity, right? The next one is safety, experiencing safety, like I'm good, I'm solid, I'm set. So externally, this is like, okay, you have enough coming in to meet what's going out. Maybe, you're paying off debt. Maybe you have like some investments, but not quite like you want it to be more, but that's okay. You're safe. And internally, you can feel that too. I'm secure, I'm safe. Then the next one is supported. Externally supported is like you're building investment. You have enough to meet like your to be generous, to be paying off debt, to be like enjoying and taking care of yourself and doing all of those things. And everyone's definition of this is going to be a little different too. So internally, you can also feel supported, be like, I'm good, I'm solid. Yeah, yay. I feel supported. I feel supported. And you can even like somatically feel that what that feels like. Then the last one is thriving, where For me, financially thriving really means I have plenty for like I have investments that are growing, building. I feel really solid and set for my future. I feel like I can share money and I can, well, not just feel like it, like I can share money. I can invest in things that help others, that help me. That there isn't like this question of money, that I have a lot of choice, that my, like all of my baseline needs. One thing I love that a solid one for me really is like, um, a couple years ago I had the experience that I started the year out with enough recurring revenue already coming in that I would have been fine if I didn't make any money the rest of the year. And that is something that I really, really love. Like having that experience. I'm actually working toward that again right now because I scaled down and now I've been scaling back up. And um, that for me really feels like thriving, is being like, I'm good, like I'm so good. And internally feeling that too, right? Where it's like you feel a lot of ease and happiness and joy and pleasure with money and you feel really good. And again, like, so our practice throughout this is to work toward, like, take the external steps towards having financial thriving, whatever that means for you, and the internal practice of, I call it creating a default state, right? Where like what you create a default state by practicing it again and again until it becomes more organic and more natural and you can have access to it a lot more easily, right? But until then, you have to repeat and practice until it starts to weave its way into your nervous system, into your brain, into your perception, um, into how you like experience yourself in the world. So that thriving of like, yeah, yeah, like I'm really happy with money. I feel solid, right? Yeah. So it's just good to take note of where you are at. Like, are you emotionally in scarcity, but you're wanting to be thriving? Are you maybe safe with money, but you're wanting to be like, where are you at? And then you keep working towards just like nurturing and fostering that thriving. And then sometimes you'll notice, oh, it's like flexing. Like right now, I feel like I'm in like the supported range with money, where for me, the thriving is like, again, like I've had the experience of having enough recurring revenue already coming in that I started the year. That felt really good for me. And yeah, it was really helpful. I really liked it. So that kind of thing. Um, yeah, it'll flex. And again, it's always a practice and coming back into to yeah, working towards thriving in all areas. Okay, so let's do a practice together. This practice will take about 10 to 15 minutes. Mhm. I'm going to share music. Does anyone have do you have any shares from anything I've shared so far? What has landed with you? I'd love for you to go to the chat box. Let me know what's landed with you so far. While I'm pulling up my music. Okay, so this practice is all about clarity around your relationship with money and nurturing it. Love the differentiation between the inner and outer work and supporting the two sides simultaneously. Yeah, yeah, that's a big thing I've seen. Again, like I said, people will kind of focus on one or the other, but you really like they both of them have to coincide and work together. You know, one of the things that my teachers have really helped me with is creating balance between my inner and outer worlds, like my spiritual world, my spiritual practice, and then like the worldly pieces, like my business, money, finances, because I used to feel like the two really conflicted a lot. And I felt weird about spending energy on one of them versus the other. And they really do work together. They really do. Like our finances and our careers, our businesses will support our spiritual world and practices, and our spiritual practices get to support our businesses and our careers and our finances and our relationships, right? And that they don't just support each other, they like merge together. They merge together because you can develop spiritually as you're developing financially, and you can and vice versa. You can wait, which one did I just say? You can develop spiritually as you're developing financially, and you can develop financially as you're developing spiritually. You can like both of them, you can learn from both, like as you're if you can engage with one and be learning about the other, and you can engage with the other one and be learning about the other. Like they're one and the same. Okay. All right, you all. So go ahead and get yourself in a space where you can be in some practice area, whether that be sitting, laying down, it's up to you. And just starting to acknowledge that you're going into a space of practice, you're going into a place where you're going to be exploring your inner world. So you can start to let your senses bring you inward, whether that be your sight, sensations of the body. Let it bring you presence. Whenever you're ready, you can gently close your eyes if that feels good to you. Please know with all of my practices, everything is always an invitation, a suggestion. You are the one guiding the practice. I am simply holding the space and offering suggestions. You are always welcome to change anything, add on anything, take away anything. Letting your breath start to deepen in your body to bring you into more presence, feeling your lungs expanding and contracting, feeling the breath moving along your inner cavities, your navel, your throat, your esophagus. Feeling that breath moving deeper into your lower belly, your diaphragm, outward into your rib cages, upward into your collarbone. And on your next exhale, fully empty, and then let the breath be the deepest, slowest, richest, nurturing breath you've had all day. Holding at the top for as long as feels comfortable for you. And then breathing out gently, slowly, letting the body rest. Seeing if there's any stretches or any body shifting positions you want to do to get yourself more comfortable. Now we're going to call in the support, the presence of your resourced, empowered, loving, wise parts of yourself. Calling in support from any beings that you work with, Mother Earth, benevolent ancestors, God, any guides. Setting an intention that this practice plants seeds for your highest good and the highest good of all. An infinite intention that it flows outward into all of life through generations past, through generations to come. And letting your body actually connect to that sense of support, to that sense of infinite intention. What does that feel like in your nervous system? What does that feel like in your body? Can you feel the sensation of that connection to your essence, your core of wisdom and truth and love that knows? And in this moment, feeling a somatic, energetic, and awareness opening to transformation, to the power of change, your power to change, your power to transform, opening to possibility. And noticing if there are stories, if there are fears, if there are stagnancies that say differently, just allowing them to gently release on your exhales, to release through your body. Like fertilizer, like compost going back into the soils to create new life. From the state, you can clearly see them as not truth. Anchoring into your devotion for you to be internally and externally thriving for yourself, for all beings. That your benefit is benefit for others, others' benefit is benefit for you. And that when you lead from wisdom and love, when you're open to your power to transform, truly miracles can happen. I see it and experience it all the time. Now starting to feel into your relationship with money currently, your experience of money. Notice if you have sensations, maybe there are visuals. Right now, what is your experience of money? How does money appear in your life? And just trust whatever thread arises. Again, it might be a sensation, a visual, and you can just stay with the question until it arises. And first, just stay with it and observe. What is your experience of money right now? With honesty, with openness and honesty. And it might be a blend of things, and that's okay too. Whatever arises is perfect. Notice if your mind starts to wander. Sometimes that can be a protection. You might also get sleepy. Sometimes that can also be protection, and sometimes that can be your nervous system actually being called to downregulate. And see if as you tune into this experience of money now, if anything starts to shift. If it does start to shift, allow it to organically shift. And give you another minute or two to explore your current relationship with money. Noticing yourself and noticing money. It's a relationship, it's a dynamic. There might be something that money is asking for from you, or something that you get to ask for. How does this relationship actually want to be? What is it calling for? Maybe it's a tangible thing, maybe it's a relationship orientation. What is money asking for? Beautiful. And so just take some note of this, a mental note of what money is calling for from you. Maybe it's more gratitude, more presence, more care, to take care of something that you've been avoiding. Maybe to open up, to receive, to release fear, to celebrate, an acknowledgement. Beautiful. Thanking money for this time together, thanking yourself for being in this practice. Releasing money in this moment. Taking a deep breath. And then slowly allowing yourself to come back to this moment, come back to this call. I would recommend, after doing this practice, if you're here, you can go to the chat box and let me know what came through for you. If you're watching the recording, you can go to the Telegram group and let me know what came through for you. I have so many practices around money, right? Ones that are healing the charge around money, that are giving clarity and direction to your values, opening up to receive deeper, expanding your capacity to hold and circulate and receive money. This one is super powerful. Even if you just do this one frequently, your life will change. All right. So as you're typing, I'm going to let you know that we are going to wrap up here for our call today. I will have this replay in the Telegram. And if you're watching the replay, I would love for you to share your calling for right relationship with money. Like, what does that mean to you in this moment? And two, what came through from this practice and any other takeaways you had from this call in this class. More conversation with money to feel its presence and support. Yeah, money was showing me how to trust myself and soften into receiving. I love that. Beautiful. And you can see how that impacts so many areas of your life, right? If you are enjoying what we are doing here, if this feels beneficial and nurturing, we're going to be doing this for the whole week. And if you are wanting to keep going and deepen what we are doing here, to expand upon it, to be held in it, to be held in community, um, in celebration, in support, in education, right? Wealthy is open right now. It is on early bird. There are spaces left at $600 off and to receive a one-on-one intensive with me. We officially start a week from today. We are doing a deep dive 6-week container. And then after that, I will have monthly calls. You'll have access to every future round of Wealthy, lifetime access as I continue making the course better and better. I've been running it for a long time. It is based in education, in practice, in real transformation, in community, and in mentorship. So I get to know you in this space. You receive hot seat coaching. We have accountability time where you go and actually implement everything you're learning. Wealthy is amazing. I love it so much. The sales page is super thorough. So I've been building that sales page literally since 2019. It's super thorough. It has almost everything you need. Frequently asked questions, but if you have any questions, you can ask them of me. If you are working through, some wounds with money, those things will come up, those fears will come up, but I encourage you to go into that core of wisdom and love and let that lead your decision, and to make it a ritual as you are signing up. That's one thing I love to ask for. I have a walkthrough of how to do that ritual on the sales page, but let it be a declaration of your transformation, of your receiving. If you're wanting to do deeper work, the Heart-Led Business Collective includes Wealthy. The Heart-Led Business Collective is my year-long all-access pass of every course I offer, both replays and live. There's a rich directory of content that you can go through. I have weekly live hot seat coaching. We do practices, community, masterminding calls every week. We have a Telegram community where we touch base a bit. I don't do coaching in there, but this is why we have the weekly calls. And you also get some one-on-one support. So I do a one-on-one audit with everyone who joins when they sign up. And it's a year of deep dive transformation into money work, your own inner work, sales, content, scaling, and also like refining your skill sets as a business owner and a service provider. I also right now have a one-on-one intensive that I'm calling Overflow Activation, where it's about going into overflow, about going into this more than enough, opening up to giving and receiving more deeply, fulfilling your intentions, your creating the internal and external. So my work is always internal and external. Internal capacity and external capacity to scale, to be receiving and giving more in your business. Again, Wealthy is not just for entrepreneurs. It's very good work for entrepreneurs, and a lot of people are catalyzed by being an entrepreneurs to come into money work, but is definitely not just for entrepreneurs. However, the Heart-Led Business Collective and that one-on-one session is for entrepreneurs. Okay, so I will have links for all of that in the Telegram group. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free. Oh, I'll share that intensive as well. I didn't share prices for everything. Wealthy right now is $600 off. I do an equity-based pricing model for it. So I have 3 different price points. There's pay in full as well as a year-long payment plan. I'll just include the link where you can go look at all the pricings for that. The Heart-Led Business Collective, I don't remember the exact pricings right now, to be honest. I think it's $400 a month for a year, or there's a pay in full, but I'm doing 10% off. And also you can, if you sign up by August 5th, you'll also get a week-long one-on-one Telegram intensive like I'm giving away in Wealthy as well. And it includes everything. It's $20,000 worth of support. Like if everything was purchased separately, all the courses, all the one-on-one support, but it's $400 a month, but it's 10% off right now. And there's a code for that, Wealthy Week. And then that one-on-one intensive is 6 weeks. It is $2,500, and it's 2 calls and then daily Telegram throughout the week. And yeah, if you're interested in the one-on-one, then send me a message directly. Okay. All right, you all. So that's it. That's all the information. Like I said, if you have questions, reach out to me and I will share links. All right. Lots of love. Have a good day.